Hi, this is Casper. Today I'm going to talk about the different types of contracts that you can find when working with internet agencies. I will walk you through the risks attached with every type and let you know when it is worth choosing which one. Let's talk about e-commerce. I've spent my business life working for different software development and marketing agencies. In this life, I've seen mostly four types of contracts: fixed price, time and materials, bulk sum, and unit-based type. Let's start with the first one. Fixed price agreements are typically signed when you are implementing a store or have some project that has a rather well-defined scope. Let's say that you want an agency to implement a new module to automate your order handling. You described it to them, they provide you with an estimate saying that it will cost X and it will take them a Y amount of hours. If you have a fixed type of contract, they claim that they will deliver the product you described and you claim that you will pay the established price. Now, if there are any changes, it takes longer to implement or it is implemented sooner, theoretically it doesn't matter. You will always pay the fixed price you agreed on. I am saying theoretically because there is the contract and then there is life. If it takes much more to implement than the agency originally assumed, they will be trying every way to increase the budget by giving you reasons of why it took more time. You always have the possibility of declining the proposed change, but it is usually a lose-lose scenario. Unfortunately, quite often it comes out after the fact and the situation doesn't give you many options which you will be happy with. On the other hand, if it takes less time than expected, do you think they would contact you and ask you to pay less? The fixed price agreement can be recommended for you if you have not worked with the agency before and if you are implementing a large project. One huge tip for you: the more detailed the scope, the better for you. If you want to have arguments later on, you need to have a precise definition of the project at hand. To give you an example, let's say that you have a task: add a payment system to the platform. What kind of a payment system? Do they need to configure it as well? They theoretically could just install the module and expect you to configure it for them. What if the payment gateway which you chose doesn't have a module or the module doesn't have a version which you need? Be as specific as you can, but also watch out, it can be a double-edged sword. Sometimes the agency can use it against you. For example, if you specify something, they can afterwards use it to show you the differences that they encountered and why it took them so long to implement. In general, I would recommend fixed price for larger projects and projects which you are doing with a company that you don't know well. Such agreements will typically result in a higher cost, but this is the security buffer. You pay the extra fee so that if the project takes longer, you don't have to worry about the extra costs. Now let's talk about the time and materials type of agreement. In this case, the contract states that you will pay the amount of hours that they spent on the project. Seems fairly straightforward. The problem is that you can't really limit the amount of hours that they will be spending on a given task. The agency can tell you that it will take approximately 10 hours, but if it takes 13, you will end up paying for 13. Of course, at some stage you are able to discuss with the agency, confront them about it, tell them that's not what you were expecting, but it is usually after the fact. So what are you gaining with this approach? I would say that mostly two things. First, you can develop whatever you want whenever you want. This actually makes it quite easy for you to change the scope of the project and work on different aspects of your store over a longer time. It is much easier than creating orders each month. As for implementations of a platform, you are getting the freedom to change your assumptions. It is worth mentioning that it is a theoretical freedom, as in the fixed price type, you can always create an addendum for the agreement. So, is it a bad idea to use time and materials? Not necessarily. Typically, in a T&M contract, the implementation rate is going to be much lower. Agencies prefer that approach as there is less risk that the tasks will be incorrectly estimated. Since the financial risk is lower, they can provide you with the lower estimates or they can possibly provide you with a lower rate. If you trust an agency and the implementation has a small project scope, you can try your luck with the time and materials agreement. I would recommend it. You may end up with a lower price tag for the project, and the risk is not huge since it's not such a huge project. Another contract type worth talking about is the bulk sum agreement. This one is typically used for maintenance services. The contract states that you pay a fixed monthly fee for a certain amount of hours. The rates are of course lower than they would be in a fixed price model, and they are even lower than the T&M model. Why? Because you are providing the company with a stable, predictable income. They know exactly how much they will be getting. Such a model can state, for example, that each month you need 80 hours of development time. Then it is your job, and sometimes the agencies, to recommend changes and tasks which will help you use all of these hours that are assigned to your projects. If you do not use them in a certain month, part of them typically can be moved to another one, but not all of them. So for example, if you have 80 hours in a month and you only end up using 20, in the next month you can expect to have 100 hours, but not 140. So it's not the full 60 that's left. This is typically contractually regulated, as agencies want to have a steady flow of tasks. What about a situation where you need more than the hours you have reserved? Typically, you can buy more, and they will be charged based on the time and materials model, typically with a little higher rate. The last type of agreement, which you can find when working with agencies, is the unit-based agreement. This one is strictly used for the maintenance phase of the project. In this model, you agree with the company that you will purchase a certain amount of different tasks each month. For example, you may want to have 4 newsletters sent out. Apart from that, you need a product import once a month, and on average, 2 banners for each campaign. Each of these tasks will be estimated once, and you will pay for each task completed. This approach is quite good for you, since you will have a general understanding of how much you will have to pay each month. This is fairly regular, but the costs are typically lower because the agency can expect a steady income stream. Each month, you can make small modifications. For example, one month you can have 3 newsletters, and the next one you can have 5. The cost will be fairly predictable. It will be a little bit lower or higher depending on the month, but in general, you will not be surprised. Of course, you can also expect some restrictions on, for example, how little can you order per month. So the downside of this model is that even if you don't have any work for the agency, you will still have to pay them for some work. To reiterate, you have a total of 4 models. Fixed is typically used for projects. Time and materials can be used for both the implementation and the maintenance. The last 2 are used strictly for the maintenance part of the project. Each comes with a set of pros and cons. Let me know if I missed any type of agreement that you've heard of. Let me know which one you would use, why, and what are your experiences with these types of models. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Hope you found some useful information here. Have an amazing day.